From LALATE headquarters in Santa Monica, this is Afternoons LALATE.
It's a huge afternoon for July 3rd, 2022, as Americans celebrate the 4th of July weekend. But when they return this week, will they already be in a recession? We'll go over the breaking news of why this economy has changed so dramatically, so quickly. A new report out from the Atlanta Fed says that a recession could already be underway. Well, the latest details you need to know. That's why they're bringing back the Build Back Better Act. In today's recording, we'll go over the exciting news of the Build Back Better Act back on, baby. But you can't wait for its checks because it could be too late. The great news is that a fourth stimulus checks are in every U.S. state tonight and today. And when you get over those incredible checks later in the recording, over $100,000 of checks in every U.S. state. Single individual, $75,000 less, you qualify. Married couple, $150,000 less, you qualify. If you're on benefits, SSI, SSDI, you qualify as well. Renter, owned, children, without children. Stay with me to the second half as we go over these incredible checks. Go under this video right today and become a member and get these incredible checks that are in every U.S. state. These are not checks from the states themselves. These are actually federal stimulus checks, but they're administered and sent out from your states. We'll go over the incredible details of these checks in today's recording. Go under this video and become a member. Then get that incredible newsletter Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Pacific Time via the YouTube alert system, and pounce and get huge checks in today's recording. In the second half of this video, we're going to go over those incredible checks. We're going to go over the phases of this economy. Phase 1 right now. Phase 2, September, potential financial cliff. And phase 3, a recession. But why is that Atlanta Federal Reserve saying there's a recession underway right now? We'll go over the definition of a recession and why gasoline prices remain high. The CPI will also remain high. Why that means the Federal Reserve is coming in with more interest rates. We'll go over a preview of what's happening this coming week. We have the month of July, and we have a lot of major developing details with unemployment, Fed hikes of interest rates, corporate earnings, and more recessionary concerns. But you're not going to worry about them one iota. No, you're not, because you're going to get those 4 stimulus checks in every U.S. state. You're going to go right into this video right now, become a member, and stay to the second half, as America's most loved show at the midday starts right now. And good afternoon, everybody. I hope you're having a beautiful day from the shore of Santa Monica, California. It's July 4th weekend, and it's July 3rd. I hope you're having a beautiful day. I'm excited you're here. And in today's video, we're going to go over those 4 stimulus checks, which are in every U.S. state. They're huge. What are these checks? These checks, first found by me on this channel, are for you, and you qualify. These are federal stimulus checks. They're not from the states. They're not state money. They're not state law. They're federal. They came from executive action of Joseph Biden, the President of the United States. They did not come from Congress, and they're up to $100,000 a person. How do you get these incredible checks? You become a member. You go right in this video right now and hit that button that says join the channel. Then you get that incredible newsletter Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time via the YouTube alert system that details all those incredible checks, and you need to get them right now because the economy is in a tailspin, and we'll go over that tailspin in just a second. Become a member, get that incredible newsletter Monday through Friday, and get those 4 stimulus checks in every U.S. state. We're going to go over each of those checks one at a time in just a second, later in this recording. But we start today with the question mark of where this economy is today. As we return from the 4th of July weekend, the question is whether this economy has slowed down faster than initially projected or initially thought. Let's look at this graphic. This graphic authored by me is based upon my projections of where the economy is going. Now to September is one phase. September to January is what I call phase 2. This is when the financial cliff would likely hit. I'll explain what a financial cliff is and what its implications are in just a second. Phase 3 is the recession, as I projected. In February of this year, I was the only American financial broadcaster reporting we're going into recession, and I put it in January of next year. We'll go over that recession in a second, but first, the question mark is whether there is going to be a recession. Most analysts believe, but the question then follows is when. Well, here you go. Here is the shocker as you go into a big afternoon. A new report released by the Atlanta Fed says the recession may have already started. You see that? Today, in July, a recession's already underway. It's not supposed to be here to January of 2023. Let's go over the breaking news. It impacts you so much. It impacts your wallet, your family, your financial livelihood so much. So this is hideously important. First, what is the Atlanta Fed saying? The Atlanta Fed is basically looking at data that came in live from the months leading into the final days of June. Now, as we start the month of July, we have ended the second quarter of this calendar year. In the first quarter of this calendar year, we already have agreed, we already understand that the U.S. economy posted a negative growth number. The GDP was negative, 1.6% negative growth in the first quarter of this year. What did the second quarter do? And why is this important? A recession is defined by 2 consecutive quarters of negative GDP growth. Okay, this is simple. So the first one is confirmed as negative at 1.6%. The second quarter just ended on June 30th. So when would we know exactly if it was negative or not? The official announcement is not to July 28th, but this is why you watch LALATE. Because if this data is correct from this Atlanta Fed, this data is coming to you approximately 26 to 25 days earlier. And the data is basically that before the July 28th announcement, the unofficial data from the Atlanta Fed's GDP now is the second quarter was negative GDP growth. You're in a recession. What does the data say? The data says that the second quarter that just ended on the last days of June was a negative quarter of 1% down. That would amount to 2 negative quarters, hence a recession. How accurate is this Atlanta Fed GDP now, which is a gauge, a live tracker, it's like tracking Santa, except you're tracking a recession. Same thing. Taking gifts, giving gifts. It's just the same approach. NORAD. It's just NORAD reversed. What does this Atlanta Fed GDP now say? It has 100% track record. That's pretty good. It has 0 errors in the entire period running from 2011 to 2019. So this Fed tracker has never gotten it wrong. So why is this Fed tracker so helpful to you and I? Because the way we deal with this economy is we prepare ahead of time. We prepare ahead of time before the event happens. Because imagine if this Fed tracker is correct, which I believe it is. Americans wake up on July 28th and they get the breaking news from the Department of Labor. Hi, you're in recession. Excuse me? Excuse me, we're in recession. I was just having my cup of coffee. This is too much to drink in the morning. Honey, can you make me another cup of coffee? I need some more caffeine now. We're in recession. Now, you're not going to do that on July 28th because you're hearing it today, on July 3rd. The Atlanta Fed's GDP now is so important, but how significant is this? Here's another way to apply it. The National Bureau of Economic Research this weekend says this may not feel or be actually like a recession yet, but here's what's important to know, is when you have 2 negative quarters of GDP growth, every single time that's happened since World War II, you go into recession. I like that quote a little bit more because it's basically saying, who cares what this really is through the month of June? It means you're definitely going recession. So they're saying we may not be in recession, but we're definitely going to recession. Folks, what does this mean for you? You got to get that forced stimulus check in every U.S. state. You're not going to wait till July 28th for Americans to wake up and ask for a second cup of coffee because they realize they're in recession now. You got to get that forced stimulus check that is in every U.S. state right now. And that forced stimulus check is needed because of the financial cliff. We're going to go over that financial cliff in a second. What are these forced stimulus checks? These forced stimulus checks are federal forced stimulus checks. They're available to citizens across all states. When I use the expression in every U.S. state, it may trip you up by thinking it's coming from the states. It's not. It's federal stimulus from the federal government done by executive orders from Joseph Biden. The federal government pays for it. The federal government made it law, and the federal government gives it to you. Where does it actually get mailed from? It gets mailed from the states because they run the websites and they own the stamps on the envelopes. Other than that, do not think it has anything to do with your states. The state governors are not sending out the checks. State governors are not making the law. The state legislators are not making the law. It has nothing to do with your state. So if you don't like your state, then you don't have to move. You can stay exactly where you are. Don't trash talk your state because they're not sending you the check. They're coming from the federal government. Now, how do you get these checks? You got to do something. You got to move to groove. It feels like a Lizzo song, doesn't it? Are you feeling sort of sexy and are you feeling like Sweetie Pie? It's Dua Lipa and it's Dua Lipa. And another thing, or it's the new Beyonce song. It's like that new Beyonce song. You're ready to quit your job. No, you are not ready to quit your job. You do not quit your job on this channel. You can listen to Beyonce's new song, but you're not going to quit your job, which is sort of what that song's about. You are ready to move and groove and get these forced stimulus checks in every U.S. state. How do you get them? They're coming up in the second half of this video. They are huge. What's important to understand is that there's inflation right now. Recession is coming or has arrived, and you can't wait for the worries of a stagflation as well. You're going to get these forced stimulus checks in every U.S. state. We're going to go over each of these checks one at a time. Later in this video, it's over $100,000. You need to get them right now because the status of this economy is changing so dramatically by the minute, by the hour. Here's what you also need to know as we go into a big afternoon. The Build Back Better Act is also underway, and you're not going to wait for that Build Back Better Act. Why? Because the Build Back Better Act is not going to get you a check by September. Let's look at that graphic again. There you go, that graphic, September. The Build Back Better Act is getting done. I'll explain to you why. Yes, they have a vote set up for the Build Back Better Act, and that vote is set for potentially late July, says Leader Schumer. I'll be going over more about it in a second. It's very exciting news, but it's not going to get you a check before the financial cliff hits, which brings us back to the question of what is the financial cliff, and why do you need to get that forced stimulus check in every U.S. state right now? The forced stimulus check is needed for you because there's a looming financial cliff. What is a financial cliff? It's exactly what it sounds like. It sounds like Bugs Bunny and the Roadrunner and falling off the cliff, and that's exactly what happens. Americans are walking along, singing their song, and suddenly, oh, am I falling? I'm falling, and just going off the side of the hill, and it's not a good look, because guess what? You may not get up. The financial cliff is exactly what it sounds. It's basically Americans unprepared for an event of financial uncertainty that happens abruptly. They wake up one day, they have a job, and suddenly the next day they're laid off. Then suddenly they realize that the landlord can evict them because there's no eviction moratorium anymore. The eviction moratoriums of 2020 are gone. The bank contacts them, says they're going to foreclose on your house because you suddenly realize, wait a second, there's no mortgage forbearance anymore from 2020. It's gone. You try to go quickly and get some unemployment assistance. PUA, gone for independent contractors. PEUC, gone for extended weeks of unemployment benefits. And FPUC, that's $600 a week on top of your existing benefits, gone. All the great stimulus packages of 2020 are gone, and Americans don't realize that really just yet. They also don't realize that the jobs are being laid off left and right. The unemployment situation is very dire in the U.S. economy right now, with 230,000 new jobless claims per week. Corporate layoffs are growing. I identified it as three phases. The first phase is layoffs. Second phase is corporate freezes, hiring freezes. The third phase is store closures. Tesla, 10% of its workforce, gone. Coinbase, 18% of its workforce, gone. Store hiring freezes, Tesla, Coinbase, and others, meaning don't apply for a job we're not even interviewing for a long time to come. And the phase after that would be store closures. We're not at that phase just yet, even though Tesla did close its store in Silicon Valley last week. Here's what you need to know is that when Americans get laid off, they're going to be surprised there may not be another job for them. And if there's no other job, then they're going to fall off a financial cliff. What if you don't work? What if you're a retiree? What if you're on SSI and SSDI? Well, there is no lift of your benefits just yet. That's why you have to get a forced stimulus check. What if you're a small business owner? There's no assistance for you as either. The EIDL grant, gone. The EIDL loan, gone. The PPP grant, gone. Yes, there's not a lot of money out there. So imagine what's going to happen on July 28th when Americans will realize there's a recession. Well, they'll still have a job because my prediction is that July is not the financial cliff, that the financial cliff comes in September. The financial cliff we first learned about between the exchange of Jay Powell and Liz Warren. It was during a Congressional Senate subcommittee hearing last week. Liz Warren, head of the Banking Committee, and Jay Powell, head of the Federal Reserve of the United States, were talking, and she said, "You have a dual mandate, do you not, Fed Governor Jay Powell?" "I do." And she said, "Isn't it to keep maximum employment and price stability, aka inflation under control?" "I do," Senator Warren. She said, "Isn't it possible you're going to send the American people over a financial cliff if you get this wrong? That potentially you're going to raise unemployment numbers and you're not going to get inflation under control." He said, "In view of the latest developing details internationally, it's always very possible that we could go over a financial cliff." Folks, if that's a warning signal, I don't know what is not. If that's not a warning signal, I don't know what it is. That is basically saying, get ready, because I may not get it right. What is Jay Powell doing? Jay Powell is raising interest rates at the Federal Reserve to get inflation down. And since February of this year, I said it's not going to work. Do we know any more about that today? We do know more about this today. And if you want a little bit of a laugh, let's laugh together. Has Jay Powell got to work, or has his tools in his toolbox not worked? Let's decide together. Look at the numbers starting right now. Jay Powell's had rate increases of interest rates since spring of this year, month after month. And let's see the results of his efforts. You ready? Here we go. In the month of March, the headline inflation, this is part of the core personal consumption number released last week, the headline inflation number for the month of March was 6.6%. So what did Jay Powell get off of that number? Well, by April, it got to 6.3%. That doesn't look like he's achieving much. It went down 6.6 to 6.3. Doesn't look like he's doing much of anything. Well, let's give him another month. Let's look at the month of May. The month of May that just came in last Thursday, it's 1 month delayed, came in at 6.3. 6.3, the same percentage point it was the month before. So it went from 6.6 to 6.3 to 6.3. He's not getting anything done. No, it's just not working. What Jay Powell has done is he's done 3/4 of a basis point increase for your interest rates, then another quarter and half, and yet this is the success he's viewing. Jay Powell all last week also said he's getting inflation down to 2% by the end of the year. Earlier this year, in addition to me saying he's not going to get inflation under control, I also said he's not going to get it down to 2%. He'll get down to 4% if he's lucky. Department of Labor and the Congressional Budget Office, both bipartisan organizations, both confirmed my reporting after I reported it earlier this year. This last week was really something I've never seen before in the history of this channel. Analysts coming out and being angry every time Jay Powell says I'm getting down to 2% later this year. They think it's so disingenuous. They think it's so untruthful. They think it's so pie in the sky. It's like flying pigs language that they say, why does he keep on saying it? It's just ridiculous. You're at 8.6. Where do you have 6 more months left? And how much have you moved the compass in 6 months? Nothing. So how are you going to get it to 2 by the end of the year? It looks ridiculous. And yet he repeats that ridiculousness. That's why you got to get a forced stimulus check in every U.S. state. Remember, if you've been with this channel for a week or so, or you're new members, or you've been here for a while, you know that a recession is coming. Why is a recession coming? A recession's coming because what Jay Powell's doing is going to hurt the economy. Let's go over the equation. If gasoline remains high, then the CPI remains high, the Consumer Price Index number, released once a month. If the Consumer Price Index number, inflationary number, remains high, then the Federal Reserve raises rates. Is gas going to stay high? Yes, it's going to stay high because Joe Biden has not gotten the price of gasoline down. And he continues to not get the price of gasoline down. We'll go over that in a second. But what I want to stop for a second and have you realize once again is that you cannot wait. As a financial cliff is upon us, as a financial cliff is right here, as a recession is looming, you can't wait to get a forced stimulus check in every U.S. state. Go right in this video right now and become a member. Become a Purple Hawk, Purple Power Casino VIP. Join the channel. Hit the button that says join the channel. And get that 4 stimulus check now in every U.S. state. In the second half of this video, we're going to go over these incredible checks that are in every U.S. state. I have gotten viewers over $50 million since this channel launched on April 25th, 2022. Look at these numbers for people who have gotten money, and their numbers have grown. With many of these viewers now over $200,000 of stimulus, it's your opportunity as well. The 4 stimulus checks in every U.S. state are over $100,000 a person. We're going to go over these incredible checks in just a second, now that you realize the severity of where this economy is going. But let me turn to another part of the equation. You just heard that word, gas prices. Is the gas situation going to stay where it is, or is it going to get worse? In my opinion, it's going to get worse. As we go into a beautiful weekend, the price of gasoline has remained relatively low for the 3-day weekend. It's been $111 international Brent crude, and the price of gasoline at the pump, the U.S. domestic average, has come down to about a $4.80. But what you need to know is that that is not sustainable, and it's likely to go higher. What's going on? It stems from a series of events and Joe Biden addressed them over the weekend, but again, he got them wrong. Let me explain what's going on, because this is going to send you in a recession. The current status of the White House's policy on gasoline has not changed since the day that Putin put 100,000 Russian troops at the Ukrainian border. That's October of last year. The White House has not changed and is likely to not change when the situation continues to get worse, and that's why you're going into recession. Let me explain what their policy is and why it's not worked. When Putin invaded Ukraine, immediately Russian oil was no longer part of the equation. Sadly, at the same time, OPEC Plus reduced production of their gasoline. They are a consortium of gasoline-producing countries in the Middle East. How many gasoline barrels did we miss per day because of these two events? 3.5 million barrels of gasoline missing per day because of Russian oil gone and OPEC Plus reducing capacity. What happens when gasoline is reduced in capacity for world economies? If there's less gasoline, the price of gasoline goes up. Pretty simple? Yes. Does it stay up? Absolutely does stay up. How do you get the price of gasoline down? You go out and you buy oil to replace the missing oil. Not just a little bit of it, a lot of it, exactly the amount that's missing. 3.5 million is missing, you go buy 3.5 that's missing. Who has the oil that amounts to 3.5 million barrels a day? 5 countries: Venezuela, Brazil, Saudi Arabia, and OPEC Plus, and Iran. Do we have 3.5 million barrels of gasoline in our soils anywhere in the United States territories? We do not. Western allies, they do not. And what has the White House and the Western allies, Germany, France, and Italy, and several other countries like England and so forth, done? They've not bought the oil. So what did Joe Biden say over the weekend? The price of gasoline is high because of Putin and remains high because of Putin. That's an incorrect statement. The price of gasoline went up because of Putin, but did not remain up because of Putin. It remained up because of the Western allies: Biden, Macron, Chancellor of Germany, Scholz, Boris Johnson of England, because they were stubborn and have not gone out and bought the missing oil. Why don't they just go buy the missing oil, LA? It seems so simple. It's not particularly clear why, but all I could tell you is the White House has run a series of false statements day in, day out, and Americans are really not believe it anymore because they realize it doesn't add up. First, the President of the United States released 1 million barrels of gasoline per day from the U.S. strategic reserves over 6 months. 1 million when you're missing 3.5, yeah, it doesn't add up. Obviously, people know numbers. 1 versus 3.5 is not going to solve the situation. Number 2, the President of the United States announced days ago that he would do a tax holiday at the pump so you don't have to pay federal taxes on your gasoline. There's a problem. That's only $1. That's only $1 to your wallet. What is $1 going to do to your wallet? Let's do the math. 18 cents is the federal tax. 10-gallon gas tank, 10-gallon gas in your car. 10 times 18 cents, it's $1.80. Not going to work. Then finally, the most popular narrative from the White House that is, again, completely incorrect, is that the reason the gasoline is high is because of ExxonMobil and the U.S. oil producers. Again, they don't have 3.5 million barrels of gasoline in the ground. They're not to blame. The White House, the Western allies, Chancellor Macron, and also Johnson, and those leaders are to blame because they haven't gone out and bought the oil. So where is the oil, and do we have any updates about that oil as well today? We do. We have an update that one of the best potential deals for us was with Iran. And we now learn that Iran, which had been negotiating with us even before the Putin invasion of Ukraine, now confirms that the White House's demands during those negotiations are so out of control that they do not believe that deal will ever happen. What is that deal? It's called the JCPOA. It's called the JCPOA and involves the reduction of nuclear warheads in Iran for removal of the embargo of Iranian oil. They got that oil. It would be 3.5 million barrels for us and the Western allies like France and Germany. But Iran tells us going into the weekend that the U.S. demands for those negotiations have been so out of control, they don't believe the deal will ever happen. What about the other countries? Venezuela, the White House isolated, and so did Brazil. They isolate with Brazil 2 weeks ago when they did not invite them to a League of Nations, Americas, in a conference in Los Angeles. They've also isolated Saudi Arabia and also OPEC Plus. Was when the White House was asked, are you going to buy oil from Saudi Arabia when you go in the next few days? No, I'm not. Takeaway is that the White House continues to really not change on its policy about oil. And that brings us back to this graphic. If gasoline remains high, then the CPI remains high, the consumer price index number, inflation. And if inflation remains high, the Federal Reserve will raise rates. That's why you absolutely, positively have to get that forced stimulus check in every U.S. state. In the second half of this video, we're going to go over these incredible forced stimulus checks in every U.S. state. Do yourself a favor. Don't wait. Go right in this video and become a member. Join the channel. Where it says join the channel under the video, hit that button. Become a Purple Hawk, Purple Power, or Calcino VIP. Get that membership newsletter Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time via the YouTube alert system. And yes, the membership newsletter will be arriving also on July 4th, Monday. And get that forced stimulus check in every U.S. state, over $100,000. You deserve it because the financial cliff is coming, the recession's coming, and in the second half of this video, we're going to go over all of that big money of the forced stimulus. You get ready for it by becoming a member during the commercial break, and I will be back with you in 60 seconds. As a beautiful 4th of July weekend continues, and so does you and this broadcast and your big money, I'll see you back shortly as America's Most Loved Show at the midday afternoons continues. If you want money right now, not 5 days from now, and not 5 weeks from now, then reach out to the community page. The volunteers can help you find that money for rent and utilities. That's at news.la.com/community. The community page features a series of volunteers who are viewers like you. They can help you find rent, utilities, SNAP, food benefits, mortgage assistance, and help you with eviction moratorium questions as well. Their Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram individuals reach out to them and indicate the city and state you're from, and they'll get back to you shortly. That's a community page. Volunteers working for you, viewers helping one another. Stay with LA for more. Join LALATE Daily for the excitement of the new LALATE live daily. The excitement starts on mornings LALATE at 9 a.m. Home LALATE returns at 11 a.m. daily. And then afternoons LALATE at 1 p.m. Join us daily as the excitement continues live from Santa Monica on LALATE. And the excitement continues right now in a big second half for July 3rd, 2022. Hope you're having a beautiful day. I'm excited you are here and hope the weather is good where you are. It has cooled down here in Southern California. Thank goodness. In the big second half of today's video, we're going to go over these 4 stimulus checks in every U.S. state. You get these checks. You don't wait a second. The financial cliff of this U.S. economy is approaching, and the recession is just around the corner. You don't wait. You get those incredible checks, and we're going to go over those checks starting right now. First, did you become a member during the commercial break? I hope you did. Go right in this video right now and click the link that says join the channel. Then get that incredible newsletter Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time via the YouTube alert system. And yes, the newsletter will be coming out on Monday, the 4th of July. We're going to go over those 4 stimulus checks in every U.S. state, starting right now. First, let's go over generally what these checks are. They are federal stimulus for the federal government from executive orders. The President of the United States had a series of executive orders in the month of March, and they are a lot of money, over $100,000 a person. And that money is incredible. By executive order, it did not require anything from Congress, did not require a vote, came from the president, from the executive branch. So it's important to understand when I say in every U.S. state, it does not mean it's state stimulus. It's not. It's not state stimulus. It's not from your state legislature. It's not state law. It's not state funds. It's from the federal government. It's just my way of talking. In every U.S. state. It's where you are. It's down the street is another way to say it. It's next door. It's on the front porch. Yeah, it's just another way to say it's just idiomatic. It's in every U.S. state. What you need to know is that this is big sums of money. I was very focused back in the month of March when viewers said, "Ella, can you find us checks? I need those checks." And the times are pretty good now, and you always told us to get money when times are good. I was very focused on doing 4 items. 1, making sure the checks are big sums of money. They are. It's over $100,000. Number 2, making sure the eligibility is very broad. It is very broad. Let's go over that eligibility right now. As Kat says, longtime viewer, you're very good on eligibility. Single individual, $75,000 less, go get them. Married couple, $150,000 less, go get them. If you rent, if you own, if you're on benefits, if you're not on benefits, SSI, SSDI, veterans benefits, and more. If you have children, if you don't have children, if you're young, if you're old, if you're retired, if you're ahead on bills, you're behind on bills, it doesn't matter. Go get them. Number 3, notice the expression I keep on saying, go get them? Yes, I need you to forget whatever you experience with stimulus in 2020 or 2021. This is 2022. This is how it's done today. You need to do something to get something. The federal government's not saying you $100,000 just because you have a beautiful hairstyle. And sorry, Nancy, I guess there's nothing coming to you. God, maybe not to me either, because, you have to move to groove. You got to learn to earn. You got to do something to get this big sums of money. And you ready? Let's do it. Let's get that very first check. It's a $6,500 to $12,000 for stimulus check. Yeah, did I just wake you up there? I think I did. $6,500 to $12,000 for stimulus check in every U.S. state. This incredible check is sort of par for the course of what we're talking about. We're looking at big checks for you. And I get the checks on this channel, a lettering system. We start with check A, $6,500 to $12,000. It's a 4 stimulus check in every U.S. state. Single individual, $75,000 less, go get them. Married couple, $150,000 less, go get them. If you're on benefits, SSI, SSDI, go get them. It's called the Homeowners Weatherizing Grant Check. And how do you get this wonderful check? Step 1, go under this video and join the channel. Click that button under the video where it says join the channel. Become a member of the channel. Purple Hawk, Purple Cow, Calcino, VIP. Then get that incredible newsletter Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time via the YouTube alert system. Go down in the membership newsletter till you find check A, and then learn a little bit more about it, explains a little bit more about it, and then click the links. It sends you into the application for the nationwide website, then you choose your state, then you choose the Homeowners Weatherizing Grant Check. And rounding times are about 1 week out. There you go, but you're not done there yet. You're going to go get check B. It's a $15,000 to $80,000  4 stimulus check in every U.S. state. Single individual, $75,000 less, go get them. Married couple, $150,000 less, go get them. It's called the Homeowners Grant Check. And yes, if you're on benefits, SSI, SSDI, veterans benefits as well, go get them. How do you do it? You know the routine. Step 1, go under the video, subscribe. Step 2, go under the video, hit the join the channel button. Become a member of the channel. Number 3, get the membership newsletter Monday through Friday, written by me, delivered to you Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time via the YouTube alert system. And then you go down in the newsletter till you find check B. When you see check B, you click the link, it sends you into the nationwide website, you choose your state, and you pounce. You go get that incredible sums of money. Look at where we are so far. We just got it started. We did check A, upwards of $12,000. We did check B, which the average view of the channel is getting close to the 80,000. That's nearly 100,000, and we're just starting. We're doing really well. We're not done there yet. We're going to go get check C. Check C is an MSC, $2,000 a month for 12 months on average check, baby. It is wonderful. But many viewers are averaging about $45,000. This is the landscape of this channel. This channel has been getting these checks for people, which is really the residue of third stimulus, since 2020, with nearly $50 million paid out to viewers of the channel. How do you get check C? You go down on the membership, you become a member. You go down on the membership newsletter till you find check C. And then it tells you who to call, what to say, and when to say it. And what's important to understand is that really in the second half of this year, now that we're underway with Q3, check C is going to be the most important check that the American people are going to need. You know why. We had a preview of it earlier in the video. You're about to be evicted by the landlord. They can evict you because there is no longer an eviction moratorium. You need to go get check C. It has money for rent. You're about to be foreclosed upon by the bank. Well, you need to go get check C. It has mortgage assistance because there is no mortgage forbearance. You're about to have the utility bill turned off because you can't pay the electric bill, or God forbid, the heating oil or gas bill this winter that's going to be 300% higher. Go get check C. It's also for utility assistance. Check C is very important in the landscape, but the history of check C is robust on this channel. We've been doing it since December 2020, and let's look at the success stories. These are the success stories for rent. Nisi all the way from 20,000 to 27,000. She's in all the live chats. She's the true embodiment of the Purple Power Spirit. I'll explain to you why in a second. Go get check C if you want these types of monies for rent. You want these monies for utilities, go get check C. Anywhere for Angela from $5,000. Even Mark's brother-in-law has gotten $15,000 recently. Snap, Nancy from $5,000. Mark's brother-in-law is getting $25,000 a year over 10 years is $250,000. And then combinations of these checks. Nisi, Mark, Lorraine, Johnny, Margaret all embody the Purple Power Spirit, which is getting checks and then getting more checks thereafter and continually getting checks. What's the latest numbers on Nisi? She's gone from about 23,000 to about 50,000. Mark has gone from about 32,000 to 50,000 to then 100,000 to then 166,000 because he got check B just days ago. Lorraine, she's in all the live chats. She's nearly at 150,000, not 105. That's how much she's grown her number as well. Here's a recap of what you need to do. Number one, go under the video right now and click the subscribe button. Subscribe to this channel. Number two, go under the video and make sure you join the channel. Join as a member. Purple Hawk, Purple Power, Calcino VIP. Number three, go to the first channel. There's a little bell. Make sure that bell is set to all notifications. And number four, get that newsletter. The newsletter is delivered Monday through Friday to members, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. If you're not on the West Coast, learn your time zone because I'm quoting you Pacific Standard Time. Also, make sure whatever device you use to read stuff remains signed in to YouTube. A lot of people's cell phones sometimes sign them out of YouTube. If you're signed out of YouTube, it doesn't see you as a member, even though you may be a member. So make sure your phone remains signed in. If you don't know what that means, reach out to your cell phone carrier to make sure your application remains signed into YouTube. At 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, you'll see an alert that says, a YouTube alert, that says new LALATE post. Down in the alert, it says click here to go to the post. You click the link to go into the post, and there is the newsletter. First line says newsletter has in there the price of gasoline, Brent crude, domestic gasoline, gas, the corn and wheat prices today. And then before you get to check A, B, and C and more checks, there's the wonderful new worksheets. The LALATE newsletter is the only type of its kind in the American landscape of financial news, and the worksheets were just launched days ago. It's brand new. It's totally free for members. And these worksheets are really helping members a lot. Let me go over these worksheets and how it works. First, it's a PDF. A PDF you can open on your phone or on a computer. If you have access to a printer, print it out. If you don't, just take notes on what it says. It's divided by subject matters to help you. The first page is for you to take notes on what you learn in the videos, because you got to learn to earn. You need to know where this economy is on a regular daily basis. And the topics are inflation, recession, labor, and the Federal Reserve. You take notes on what you hear on camera. The second page is perhaps the most popular of the pages. It's for stimulus with a very helpful table. Again, this is all created by LALATE, by me, for you. And the table has in there a series of columns. The first column has the name of the check A, check B, obviously. Then has the date you applied, for you to keep notes of when you applied. Then the next column has the amount you were paid. That's important to keep track of what months you're paid. Because this is what we're talking about with Nisi and Lorraine and Margaret and Johnny, is I want you to keep track of when you're paid for. So let's say you're paid for July and August and September, 3 months. Well, you're going to be back calling them up in September, asking for October, November, December. I want you to keep track of what you're paid for. And then you have a column to keep track of your contact. Your contact is very important. You need to know who it is and what their name is and their extension. You put it in the table. On tonight's Evening Light, we're going to go over the raising up of your benefits. If you're on SSI and SSDI, nearly over $300 a month based upon what they're projecting. I'm projecting it may be even higher. And there's a little table on the next page of the worksheet for you to do a calculation for yourself. What if my benefits went up $300 more per month? How much more money is that? What if it went up 10%? How much more money is that? It's a helpful table for you to compare your notes based upon what you're hearing from the Social Security Chief Actuary. And then you have a page for gas, 6 stimulus, to keep track on what's going on with gas and the deals or lack of deals for the Western allies. And finally, the 7th page is student loan debt forgiveness, 7 stimulus. What's the update on that? Let's go over the update on that right now. The President of the United States, in my projections, will announce a $10,000 student loan debt forgiveness in the month of August. This would culminate months of negotiations and put it to a finality. Individuals who have $150,000 or less of annual income that year will be able to have $10,000 of their federal loans forgiven. This follows after the president forgave student loans for individuals who became disabled after graduation, went to work in the nonprofit or public sector after graduation, or individuals who became disabled or whose debts were procured by fraud by the university against them. I believe that announcement is coming in the month of August, before the recess. What's also coming in the month of August? What's coming before the month of August, I should say, before the month of August, is a vote. Oh my goodness. The Build Back Better Act is back, baby. And boy, is it back and it's ready to act, but is it better? We're going to go over everything you need to know starting right now. First, I want to go over why I put Build Back Better Act later in the broadcast. For obvious reasons. There's a financial cliff coming in September based upon my projections. There's a recession already underway based upon the Atlanta Fed, or a recession coming in January based upon my projections. You cannot wait for the Build Back Better Act to pay you money when it does, because it will be too late. The financial cliff will have already happened. The recession may already have begun or about to begin, and that will be too late. My opinion, Build Back Better Act is going to get done. My opinion, Build Back Better Act is going to pay you good money. But my also opinion is that anyone who waits for the Build Back Better Act will fall over the financial cliff. You're not going to do that on this channel. That's why you get the forced stimulus checks in every U.S. state I just went over. And then you get this money on top of it. Let me give you all the breaking news on Build Back Better Act, which is back on this channel now, once again, because of the looming breaking news. First, we're going to go over the status, the vote, the negotiations, the narratives, and then the substance, what parts of the bill have likely survived. First, the negotiations. The four corners, which represents the leading two Democrats in the Senate and the House, met last week and negotiated basically a footprint or a roadmap to what will be in the Build Back Better Act. They got it done. Huge. Second, we learned this last week that my reporting from early this year that Joe Manchin, senator from West Virginia, and Chuck Schumer, the majority leader of the Senate, had been negotiating on a regular basis. But the even better news is that this last week, the two of them solidified a major agreement on a big subject matter: lower prescription medication. It's done. It's now solved between Joe Manchin and Chuck Schumer. Uh, Third, what's important to understand is that Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi in a joint statement says they believe the Build Back Better Act will go to a vote by late July. I still cannot say that without laughing. You know what I'm about to say. Nancy Pelosi does not have a good track record with the month of July. She does not have a good. They just don't go. They just do not get together. They just not. Nancy and July are just maybe June, but Nancy Pelosi and July are just not two good things that go together. What is the history of these two? In 2020, Nancy Pelosi said she was going to get your FPUC extended before it expired in July. She didn't, and it cost Americans $12,000 a pop. That's FPUC retro. July 2021, Nancy Pelosi said she was going to get the Build Back Better Act done and to a vote then. It didn't get done. So do I put a lot of weight in her comments? No, but I do put a lot of humor behind them. There's no reason we should not pass this bill through Congress in July, said Schumer and Pelosi in a joint statement released this last week. Is that a quote from last year or a quote from this year? Yeah, see, it's just so easy to put humor to this because it's sort of ridiculous. But let me tell you the reaction. You're going to hear from Mitch. You're going to hear from Faux News. And you're also going to hear about something that's a little confusing. Let me go over Mitch first. Mitch McConnell, Minority Leader of the Senate, is doing what Mitch McConnell's best at doing, confusing the world out of you, saying that if you Democrats go ahead with a reconciliation bill, I'm going to withdraw support for the bipartisan agreement. Do we care? Remember, a reconciliation bill, which is what we're talking about with the Build Back Better Act, requires no Republican votes. It does not require any Republican votes to pass. That's why it's called a fourth stimulus recon. It only requires senatorial Democratic votes and House Democratic votes. Number two, Mitch McConnell is confusing the situation by referring to a bipartisan as if he could use another word. I really appreciate it, Mitch, if you're watching. But let me tell you why that word's confusing. Yeah, because you've heard about a bipartisan agreement and the Build Back Better Act together before. It was the roads and bridges in 2021. This time around, it's another bipartisan. It's something regarding increasing semiconductor and similar chip manufacturing in the United States. It has bipartisan support, and he's saying Republicans will withdraw support for that legislation if Democrats consistently pursue and try to do the Build Back Better Act. Confusing? Don't worry about it. It's just a fake narrative, and that's what Mitch McConnell does. Number three, Faux News and every version of Faux News is going to be back out with those Joe Manchin quotes that are dated. They're not current. They're old. They're old quotes. So if someone sends you a quote that says Joe Manchin said this, February 2022, November 2021, or even, 2 weeks ago, not currently the status. Joe Manchin wants to get this done, and it will be getting it done. Let's go over then the substance of the Build Back Better Act. And I will be going over more about this tonight on Evenings LALATE and more in something that's coming to this channel very shortly. That's a little teaser, isn't it? The Build Back Better Act has a series of provisions in there, and those provisions are likely to survive. The $25,000 for the purchase of a first home, I think it's going to survive. The $250 billion for free home health care for seniors and people on disabilities, I believe that would survive. The MSC, I think so, but it's ultimately up to them. That's not my call. $2,000 the first month, $1,000 thereafter for 6 months. It's only $6,500. So I don't want you to wait for that MSC because it's a lot less than the $100,000 stimulus checks I have in every U.S. state. Cluster number one, hazard pay, $4,000 of elder care, $4,000 of care for young children, the home repairs, the nutrition, the $12,500 for the purchase of a new car. I believe it all survives. The cluster number two, the home repairs is out. That's check A, we just went over. And I believe the paid leave will never survive with Joe Manchin. And third cluster, this is sort of the edge of prediction. It's really hard to predict the third one because there's a lot of medical stuff in here. This is hearing, vision, dental, which is along the lines of what Manchin and Schumer were negotiating, but also not. So it's really not clear whether it would survive or whether it got in there or has been removed. They're not giving us guidance, but I will be tracking it for you as well. And what should you be also tracking as well? You need to stay with me because in the next 90 days, there's a lot of things going to be happening. In the next 90 days, we're going to have the Federal Reserve raise those interest rates at the July FOMC meeting. In the next 90 days, we're going to have in the month of July, the corporate earnings released for Q2. In fact, this is all in the next 30 days. In the next 30 days, or 90 days, we're also going to see the latest GDP number and the latest, which is July 28th, and the latest CPI number, the inflationary number. Yeah, this is really going to be a big month, July. This month is going to be like May, which was a tsunami that changed the whole landscape of this entire year of this economy. I believe the month of July will be the most significant month of the entire year for this economy. What's also coming in the next 90 days? A brand new LALATE. You're going to be shocked. You're really going to be shocked. I don't think you really have a sense of what's going to be coming. I didn't have a sense of what was going to be coming until, like 15 seconds ago. But boy, you're going to really enjoy it. It's not me changing a few plants on the set. It's not that. No. It's a lot more significant than anything you've expected or seen before. The brand new LALATE is coming in less than 90 days, so you need to prepare accordingly. How? You go right in this video and you subscribe to this channel right now. That's going to get very big very quickly and bigger than it is already. Number 2, you go right in this video, become a member. You get this for so much checks in every USA. You don't wait around. And third, you watch the videos. You know where this economy is going on a daily basis for you, your family, which you care for, and your community. And you build up your savings by getting as much of these stimulus checks on a regular basis. You keep on getting checks like Nisi, Margaret, Lorraine, and Johnny. And you stay for Evenings LA tonight at 5 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. Evenings LA tonight at 5 o'clock Pacific Standard Time and LA Live at 5:45 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. 2 great shows back to back. It's going to be a big night. It's going to be a big weekend, and it's going to be a huge month and 90 days. From the shores of Santa Monica, California, God bless. Thank you for joining me on another broadcast. I'll see you tonight on Evenings LA. Don't forget to become a member. Go right in this video. Become a Purple Hawk, Purple Power Casino VIP. Stay informed, stay focused, have a beautiful day, get that money, and stay with LA for more.